Hey, what's up, and welcome to QnA, the show where I take your questions from YouTube and Twitter and answer them here in video format. A ton of questions to get into. Let's just kind of jump into it. And we're going to start with our first question here from Aaron Matthews. And Aaron says right here, after the comments from the DB coaches, pass game. Oh, okay, that's what it says. DB coaches pass and pass game coordinator, Jeff Howard, basically. Jeff Howard. So let me explain this before I even read the question. So Jeff Howard went on a press conference, and you can watch it yourself on the Browns YouTube channel, I believe. But he's basically the second in charge here on the defensive side of the ball. And they asked him about the coverages and the adjustments made for Jamar Chase once T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd weren't in the game. And basically he said we didn't because we weren't sure if they were going to come back in the game. Now, back to the question. He says, how do I feel about the front office to proceed this offseason with it? No, none of these coaches should come back. I have said this a while ago. None of these defensive coaches should come back. Straight up. They all should be gone. I think they should just wipe clean the whole defensive side of the ball. Now, look, those comments in a vacuum, you can say that it's going to be overblown, right? And those are going to be the comments that are going to be the rally cry for everybody to get on board with getting rid of the defensive coaches. But the rally cry was against Miami, and the rally cry was against Buffalo. So, like, to me, it wasn't even surprising when he said it because it was like, yeah, they've been doing it all year. Well, not doing it all year. You know what I mean? So, they're just not good. It's just not a good staff they have there. I think they have good talent, bad staff. Next question comes from Hamp, who says, what is STEFANSKI bringing to the Browns that we can't get anywhere else? In other words, why shouldn't we fire him? I would say that Stefanski's offensive numbers have spoken for themselves. He's been here 3 years. The offense was top 10 with Jacoby Brissett. It was top 10 with Baker Mayfield. Both of those quarterbacks are not quarterbacks who are going to find starting jobs easily in the NFL. So you were able to achieve that with those two. You can argue he's gotten the most out of Nick Chubb, David Njoku, Wyatt Teller, both Jacoby and Baker Mayfield pretty definitively with those two. Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's really gotten a lot out of this offense. I mean, we didn't expect this offense to be good, and the fact that anybody is disappointed in what they've been putting up the last few weeks is kind of a testament to what they were able to do with Jacoby Brissett. So, I think he has an offensive mind, is an elite offensive mind. I think it showed in Minnesota. It's showing in Cleveland. The 1 year he had bad offensive play was the year that Baker Mayfield decided to go against the script. Every other year where he's had a quarterback willing to go with the script, they've been good. I think that trend holds. So he is one of the best offensive minds in there. We forget, good offensive coordinators are hard to find. So that's why the good ones usually become head coaches, because that way you can keep them, right? Because not only are good offensive coordinators hard to find, they're hard to keep. So you have to maintain that. You have to manage that. If you feel like you got a good one, you got to keep him. And you got to probably make him your head coach. Does he have areas to grow? Absolutely. Play calling, his situational stuff, definitely room for growth there. But nobody is perfect, and you're not going to fire him and hire somebody who's perfect. You might hire somebody who might be just as good or better, but it's also very, very likely you hire somebody who's worse. So that's where I'm at with Kevin. The next question comes from Lance Corporal, who says, do you think Prefer and Woods are a package deal when it comes to Stefanski fixing the scheme of the defense and special teams? Do we have to fire Kevin to get rid of both of those two? No, you shouldn't have to. If Kevin makes it so that's the case, then that's Kevin's choice, and I can't rock with that. But you should be able to get rid of at least Joe Woods. I think that's pretty obvious that you got to get rid of him. Even if it's just, even if the problems are stuff that we don't know about behind the scenes, you still got to get rid of him because it's been 3 years. This defense has been bad for 3 years. Somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to be pointed at and thrown out. in order for anybody to believe that this thing's going to be fixed. So he has to go. Now, Preef, I'm going to be honest with you. I want Preef gone, but it's very possible Preef can stay because it's just people don't care about special teams that much. I know people on the internet care about special teams, but like people in real life could care less about special teams. Steve with the next question says, easy one. Should Kevin get a full year with DeSean Watson? I think so. I think he should. I think offensively he has proven that. I think it would be better for DeSean for him to get a full year with him. Look, Kevin's offense has a proven track record. It has a proven track record. A proven one. Baker Mayfield's had a top 5, top 10 season with it. Kirk Cousins has had a top 10 season with it. And Jacoby Brissett had a top 10, 11 games with it. This thing's proven. It works. Okay? It's not working well right now, but that's because you have a quarterback who's learning the system right now, who's just off of his second game in like 700 days. So this system is proven. The offense is proven. You have to see that one out. Because if you fire Kevin and you never get that quality of offensive coordination again or offensive coaching again, you're going to look like an idiot as a franchise. Again, good offensive coordinators are not easy to come by. And that's why a lot of them become head coaches, because that's how you keep a good offensive coordinator. You might not like how that sounds. You might not like that the head coach title isn't about all sides of the ball, but that's what it is. Good defensive coordinators tend to be easier to find. That's why you don't make them head coaches. That's why the guy can be a good defensive coordinator for like 20 years. But a great offensive coordinator or a good offensive coordinator, quite frankly, they're head coaches immediately because you want a good offensive coordinator. Just is what it is. It's what the league is now. Next question comes from Norman, who says, can Stefanski balance his offense to maximize both Chubb and Watson? I know the offensive line has been bad, but the run game has been brutal. Yeah, I mean, the run game's been brutal since before Watson came in, right? This is something that a lot of people chose to ignore the last few weeks that Jacoby Brissett was in. And I got flack for pointing it out. The offensive line play and the running game has been bad. Remember when y'all jumped down my throat for pointing out that Nick Chubb wasn't good in that one game? So it's not just with Watson out there. It's been like this for a while. Posick is out. I think there's some adjustments to the run schemes. And I also think that they've been playing against some really good fronts lately. So, you know, we look at balance as every game, 30 passes, 30 runs. Balance is truly like measured throughout the season. Some games, some game plans, you want to throw it more, because that's where the weakness is in the other defense. Some game plans, some games, you want to run it more. That's what I feel like is balance. We measure balance game by game, and I think that's a flawed way to do it. It should be measured throughout the totality of the season. Did they run when it was beneficial for them to run against teams that aren't good against the run? Okay, cool. Did they throw against teams that it was beneficial to throw against? You should be flexible. We focus so much on balance. You can run it 30 times, pass it 30 times. You can lose all your games. It doesn't matter. But a flexible offense will ultimately be a successful offense. And now they're able to be flexible. They need to be flexible this week. And I think this is a week where they need to throw the ball more than they need to run it. Next question comes from G, who says, is Kareem Hunt being phased off the offense in preparation for him not being on the team next year? He's not being. I don't know why people are acting like he's being phased out just now. Every time Kareem Hunt's been in the game throughout the first part of this season, y'all have complained about it. Y'all have literally asked me questions about why is Kareem Hunt in the game in this situation? Why isn't Nick Chubb in the game? Why doesn't Nick Chubb have all of the carry? But now Kareem Hunt's being phased. He's been being phased out. I said like 2 months ago, this stopped becoming Chubb and Hunt and became Nick Chubb and then Kareem Hunt every once in a while. It's been like that all season. I don't think that's in preparation for next year. I just think Kareem Hunt's getting older. He's not as good anymore. I mean, Nick Chubb got better, at least at the beginning part of the year. And it wasn't justifiable. It wasn't as even of a balance when it comes to talent as it's been in the past. The next question comes from Cannot Dodge the Quad. Okay. Who says, do you think Kevin's future with the team could be cut short halfway? Yes. Yes. If DeSean Watson does not look good on the offense next year and Kevin's still here, Kevin's probably going to be gone, man. I say this all the time. Expectations are what creates job openings, because when the expectations are high, is when it's easier for a coach to get fired. The expectations are going to be high next year. And they're going to be high because you spent a lot of money at the quarterback position. You're finally going to get a full year of that guy. You spent a lot of money around the team. The expectations are going to be high. There's going to be a lot of hype. You could argue whether it's deserved or not, but when the money is when there's this much money invested, this much draft capital invested in a stretch of 3 years, the expectations just going to be high. Got to live up to it. Next question comes from Maurice, who says, Raven fan here, do you see us Ravens as a bigger rivalry than the Bengals? Me personally, I hate Pittsburgh the most, but the past few years we became your most hated team. But anyways, who do y'all see as the biggest rival? You know, it's hard for Browns fans to feel like we have rivals at this point just because we haven't been close enough to have stuff taken away from us by our division rivals. I would say that we probably have more of a bone to pick with Baltimore than any other team right now. Like, we kind of got our victory over Pittsburgh in that playoff game. So like, that's kind of taking the heat off of playing Pittsburgh and losing to them. And you know what I mean? But Baltimore's been that thorn in our side for a while for obvious reasons because they're a good team. Cincinnati, we've had their number. They just got us this year. Yeah, their fans can be a bit obnoxious, but like, ultimately, I kind of look forward to the Cincinnati games more than I dread them. The Raven games, I always think something weird can happen. So I would agree with you there, Maurice. Is that it for all of the questions? I believe it is. I want to thank you guys for asking all the questions. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell down below, and follow me on Twitter at KWEN_C to see when I post questions. But you guys have a great day. Have a good night.